Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Ronke Lowell. I wanted to talk about mistakes and whether black women are allowed to make mistakes. And yeah, it's just something that was playing in my mind in terms of failure, trying new things, and you know how I feel when something goes wrong, or how, you know, some of my counterparts feel, particularly the black women in my network feel when something goes wrong. And I just wanted to share my thoughts about making mistakes. I don't know if black women are allowed to make mistakes, if I'm being quite honest and sincerely. Obviously we do make mistakes. We are not perfect, but I don't know if we're given the grace or we're given grace or an environment that's conducive to allowing us to not only learn from those mistakes, but just heal. Like, making a mistake, failing at something, or doing something wrong, but it's not wrong that doesn't intend harm. So if you do something wrong, but you're not intending to harm someone, it's very, very, very different from intentionally trying to harm someone, but just messing up. Are we allowed to even do that? Are we allowed to just fumble? I noticed that when a black woman, particularly in the public eye or in professional spaces, business spaces, when a black woman makes a mistake or does something that is considered, you know, messes up, there's a harsh reaction, a really harsh reaction, a harsh response to those mistakes. And I think this will explain why a lot of us, especially high functioning, highly successful black women, strive for perfection, and even that terminology of excellence, because we don't want to mess up, because we're not given grace, we're not given the space or opportunity to learn from the mistakes we make. When we look at society as a whole, when we look at who is allowed to mess up, like even in the entrepreneurial space, right? Like when we think about some of the biggest entrepreneurial flops, you know, there's so many, I could probably list, you know, so many just entrepreneurial major flops, just big things where people have lost millions, potentially even billions of pounds and dollars, and yet they're allowed to make a comeback, or they're given a redemption arc, which gives them a chance to try something new, or renew their journey. And I just wonder if maybe I'm asking too much. Maybe the issue here isn't about what society is giving us, and maybe what I should be focusing on is what society gives black women. So where a black woman isn't allowed to make a mistake, and society doesn't give us the grace or show us grace, black women, we have to come together as a community and show ourselves grace and take care of ourselves and allow ourselves to heal and move on and learn and do the learning and unlearning that is required to move on from that. I think that's really, at a moment, I think that's really what it is. I think it's going to take a lot for society to give us what we deserve and we need. And yes, we can demand it. Yes, we can keep speaking up. But I think we need to also know that we're allowed to mess up. We're allowed to flop. We're allowed to make mistakes. We're allowed to fail. We should be able to get back up with dignity, with courage, and allow ourselves that softness that society doesn't always allow us to have, and be gentle on ourselves, and not to carry that shame or embarrassment or guilt or whatever it is, like so many things we end up carrying just because we feel that we have to be superwoman or strong or, you know, amazing, and like there's so many things that we think we have to do. And I know why. We've been conditioned, depending on our family backgrounds or our cultural heritage. Some of us, you know, being from a Nigerian diaspora community, the expectation within that community for excellence and for achievement and attainment is quite high, right? Particularly if you've come from a working class background and you are rising through the ranks of class in this country, in the UK. I'm speaking about the UK. You know, trying to build something. So along the way, we're not even giving ourselves that grace where if you do flop, if you do make a mistake, it's almost like, it almost feels like, I don't even want to call it a privilege. It almost feels like, okay, yeah, you've made that mistake now. You've got to push through and focus on the good thing, the next thing. You can't even take a time. You can't even take a moment to breathe because you're constantly working. And I wonder the damage that hard work narrative, that thing of just working so hard, is doing to us, doing to our collective mental health and our collective well-being, but also individually. I'm just thinking about myself, like what that's done to me and how I hold and carry myself and what it looks like for my future. And now just being more honest about, you know, how I don't always get it right. But that doesn't mean necessarily that there's something wrong with me, and how I've made mistakes and how I respond to those mistakes. And how I respond to how people respond to it. Because like I said, it's often that embarrassment and shame. But actually, if I talk about it, if I share it with people, whatever the reaction is, I should be able to, and we should be able to stand firm and say, look, I messed up because I'm not perfect. No human being is perfect. But I'm learning, I'm growing, and I'm moving forward. And I deserve space. I deserve an atmosphere and an environment that allows me to grow and to learn my lessons and to get over all of this. So it's complex, but it's quite healing to actually have this conversation. So thank you for watching and for allowing me to even just have this conversation with you. Please do share your thoughts, share comments, and share this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, a lot's still playing in my mind, but I appreciate the space. I appreciate the space and the time. So thank you so much for watching. Take care.